Someone who is spiritually awake, spiritually awakening, and spiritually awakened will not pander to fame, will always have an internal check-in system. So to give you a practical example, if you're on social media and you're running a spiritual awakening platform, or you're a spiritual awakening teacher, or you're a life coach, or any of those things, and you have a desire to help people and you think, okay, I'll get myself on this platform, check in with yourself and see how you feel about how your posts are being responded to. Now, somebody who is spiritually awakened, it will make zero difference how your work is being perceived, and whatever it is that you're putting out there isn't something that is born of a desire to get known or desire to get famous, or indeed a desire to help. Somebody who is spiritually awakened is devoid of even the desire to help, but they do so following divine guidance, divine inspiration, that this is something that needs to be shared, and therefore there's no thought, and it is simply then passed on and it lands wherever it is meant to be, whatever the frequency of the recipient is to be, and you trust in that process. So it isn't even that you have a desire to help somebody and you're going to do this, and so you're going to commit to creating posts, you're going to commit to doing this or commit to doing that. There is in fact no act of doing, there is no act of thinking, so you're not even creating content, or you're not even trying to create. When you are spiritually awakened, all of this, folks, it comes very, very naturally. And this is why we say divine wisdom simply flows. It comes from source. So it isn't that you're going to spend time or hours and hours or trying to think about a strategy, or how do I get viral, how do I get people, and you'll justify that by saying, well, you see, this is a message that needs to get everywhere, and so I have this desire and I want it to reach everywhere, so I'll do whatever it takes to get the numbers rolling. But it doesn't really matter, because fame and fortune start to follow the one who's awakened and the one who is awakening. You don't follow these things, they will come to you, and you will be indifferent to them when they do arrive and they're there, because it is part and parcel of being spiritually awakened when you do come into that. Because depending on whether you're here to walk and talk in everyone, so are you here as a spiritually awakened person that's going to work with the masses at a greater level, so you have a greater audience, or are you here to walk and talk between the masses? We are not necessarily going to be seen so much, but you will be heard through different ways. So folks, it's not really down to I want to help. There is no desire in a spiritually awakened person. You are simply following whatever is being put inside of you, a divine idea, a divine inspiration, and you're going with it. So it isn't that you sit and you plan, I am going to go onto social media, or I am going to go and create this content. Now, what is trending at the moment? What do people really want to know about? What can, help people right now? You see, because when you're spiritually awakened, your thinking point is not what am I going to sell or how am I going to add value, because you're literally not thinking of any of those things. It's like following an internal command system that is there in all of us. And as you spiritually awakened, you become more attuned to the internal command center, which we call the Ajna Chakra, so your third eye. When that happens, you are heeding to a call, you are listening into this, and you're literally following what is coming from that, which is why, as you're no longer operating from lower chakras, so there is no need for you to be validated, for you to be approved, for you to feel a certain way. So you're not being led by a feeling that you are chasing for you to create content, or for you to create something that you deem as necessary and useful for somebody else's spiritual evolution, genesis, and self-discovery. But it is merely you sharing your nuggets of wisdom that arise out of natural self-discovery, which is not preceded by self-inquiry. It is something that simply happens without you trying to make it happen. See, that is the magic of being in a spiritually awakened place or spiritually awakening, that everything starts to calm down, everything starts to stop. When everything stops and you enter a state of I'm listening, you become an antenna, you become attuned to the antenna that has always been transmitting and always been receiving signals. It has always been doing that. The only difference is now that you're more attuned, now that you're more aware, all this comes devoid of any projection that comes from your mind. As long as it's not coming from your mind and it is quite neutral, where there's not been any thought, so you're actually bypassing the mind, you're bypassing cognizing, you're bypassing the need to actually think about it. So you're not going to be scripting, you're not going to be writing something before you go out there and talk about it or anything like that. It just flows and it just comes very, very naturally. So the next time, folks, when you're out there, when you're creating content, when you're sharing this wisdom, you're sharing your findings, ask yourself what drives you to do that, if at all there is something that is driving you, or are you merely following your inner command center? As always, sending you so much love.